Alright, what's up yins guys? Time for another video. Saw this on the TV news just yesterday. A guy in Pittsburgh, he was from New Jersey, but living there, like a place called Shadyside. A very cowardly attack by a piece of shit. The guy's a piece of shit and a coward, no doubt. And this is the kind of guy that deserves to be roughed up by the police for shit like this. Stabs the guy a bunch of times, like for no reason at all, and throws him down steps. And he was in ICU for a while. He was lucky to be alive. Miraculously, the guy that stabbed him just missed vital organs and what do you call it? Some main blood vessels and arteries and stuff like that. Guy was a coward and a piece of shit. He should not have the opportunity to be in jail and act badass when asked what's he in there for. And not that I'm advocating anybody to do anything, but if it were you and me that was dumb enough to do something like that, even on the if you were under the influence of something, we would expect that, say, what example, if the victim is related to the wrong people, you can wind up in the trunk of somebody's car. My stepdad used to always see stuff on the news and say why you shouldn't do stuff like that. He liked to talk about if a person happens to be related to somebody in the mafia and things like that, you'd be in the trunk of somebody's car. He used to like to say shit like that as a reason why you shouldn't do these things. But it's very wonderful that the neighbors in the neighborhood was taking care of this guy and in support of him and that. But anyway, the guy was from New Jersey. He had $1 million bail was set at $1 million, and I guess a minimum of $100,000 was needed to get him out. So evidently he had a rich mommy and daddy or somewhere that pulled $100,000 out of their ass to bail him out. And on top of that, some judge granted him to go to jail in New Jersey. And well, we'd have to follow this story. We've got to wonder, why was this allowed to happen? What are these people trying to pull? Is it like same thing like the affluenza drunk driving killer? They trying to get out of it? Or somebody that had the money to just whip out $100,000 to bail the dude out. You got to wonder, once he leaves the state line, somebody with that kind of money, or they have some kind of judges or magistrates or authorities in their pocket, and you can imagine what shit they're trying to pull, you know what I mean? But anyway, the dude's blaming it on synthetic marijuana. But I heard stories like years ago that synthetic marijuana was killing people and making them really sick. But I'm with the citizens of the town that was helping the victim here. Synthetic marijuana, that's not a defense, that's not an excuse. And why the hell was this guy allowed to be taken back to New Jersey? Why was he allowed to be bailed out? You gotta wonder what the hell they're trying to pull. But a guy like this does not deserve such a thing. And I don't want to digress here. I don't want to steal everybody else's I don't want to steal other YouTubers' expression. They're using that term, I digress. But anyway, don't get me wrong. I always talk about how I can't stand the race baiting, especially after the George Floyd thing and all the riots and everybody bandwagoning about everything, calling it a racial issue. But I will tell you one thing. Shit like this, black advocates and race advocates should be on the ass of people that were bailed this guy out. I mean, because after all, even though I can't stand that bullshit like was going on in 2020, people using race as an excuse for everything, this looks really bad. There's people that, when you want to say black activists or whatever, should be all over this. This really looks clearly like, hey, white guy does something like this, Matter of fact, somebody that looks like me does something like this, that's white and has long hair, whether black or white, there were people that got put away for a long time for much less. And this one, I will definitely encourage groups of people that are black to go raving, rant and raving about it. I encourage that. They should be, people of other colors and races should be ranting and raving about this. Hey, a white guy, totally agree. Like I said, I can't stand that other shit, but I totally agree with this one. That that racial activists should be all over that shit and shaming the hell out of them. That's what I am. I will sign my name to that. Just like the affluenza killer too. There should have been racial advocates. Even though I can't stand that shit, racial advocates, I have a list of things that racial advocates should be all over. And I will agree, 100% agree with him on that. Because the guy is a piece of shit. Yeah, what if this guy, cowardly asshole, picked an old 74-year-old man that happened to be black? And if he did, he would deserve everything that was coming to him. Say a bunch of black folk out there that would take things in their own hands. You know, the kind of neighborhood, there's neighborhoods, not saying anything about anybody's color, but there are neighborhoods that a guy like this does shit like that, picks the wrong person that's related to the wrong people. Absolutely, he can wind up in the trunk of somebody's car or whatever. I'm not advocating that. I'm just saying, if that were you and me, that's why I wouldn't do shit like that. And none of us have a desire to. You can expect that, even though it's against the law, to take things in your own hands. I'm saying anybody that does shit like that should have common sense, and if they do something like that, they should be in fear. And when they go to jail, they should be made to feel fear in jail and be cringing in a fetal position and not given no opportunity to try to act calm or tough. They should be frightened into fetal position and everything. Don't cause their death, but make their life miserable. That's what should be done. Like I said, if the old man happened to be black, the dude in the right neighborhood, he'd be in a world of shit. And not to stereotype Italians or anything, but my stepdad liked to say shit like that when he saw shit like on the news. Yeah, that they picked the wrong victim and they're related to somebody that's Italian, maybe mafia types, or even somebody else in another nationality, that group of people that are capable of doing something. Not that I'm advocating it, but they deserve it. That's what I say. No different than if you do something to the wrong person's kids. Anyway, the guy's a piece of shit and a coward. He should not have been allowed to have some rich mommy and daddy put up $100,000 out of $1 million bail and be allowed to leave the state. That is fucking ridiculous. For a piece of garbage like that damn near killed somebody. And then I'll say it again. Did anybody with that like racial advocate stuff, they should be pissed. I actually encourage them to be pissed, because that one shit like that does look bad. That even though I'm not into making everything like that a racial issue and all that, that shit like that, and a list of things like I said before, the affluenza, drunk driving killer, and those kinds of things in people. Yeah, there are lists of certain people that are white. I think I did a separate video on that. I should do another one. There's a list of things that I will agree with, that those kinds of activists should be all over that shit big time.